In this lecture, we'll be starting with our numerical type 2, which is design of singly reinforced sections. And what would be given to you in these type of numericals will be loading. Loading is given. The grade of concrete used, that will be given. Grade of steel used, that will be given. What you have to find is dimensions of beam and area of steel. Sometimes in some numericals, even the dimension or one of the dimension of the beam would be given, or both the dimensions would be given, and you will be have to find AST. Here we have two parts basically: limit state of collapse, flexure, and limit state of serviceability, deflection. So we have to satisfy both of them, both of these limit states, while designing the singly reinforced section. So we'll be designing it into two parts. First is satisfying limit state of collapse, and second is satisfying limit state of serviceability. Step 1 is assume width of beam. If it is not given, assume it in between 230 to 300 mm, because that is generally the width adopted for beams. It's not that only this, means you can have more also, but this is a general range of width. Step 2 in limit state of collapse is find ultimate moment and equate it to maximum moment of resistance to find a required effective depth of beam. Always design a balanced section. So here what you know is the width of the beam, right? You will assume the width of the beam, or it will be already given to you in the numerical. In the step 2, what we are finding is effective depth of the beam. Okay, so in first two steps, what we are doing is we are finding the dimensions only. But to find this effective depth, you have to consider your section to be a balanced section. And just note this, that we will always design it for a balanced section, and further we can make it as an under reinforced section. But the design should always be aimed to make it as a balanced section. So in the first two steps, we are finding just the dimensions of the beam. In step 3, we will equate compression to tension to find the axial neutral axis. In step 4, we will find the area of steel. Limit state of serviceability, we will check deflection limits according to IS 456 clause 23.2.1. So let us start with the numerical. What we have been given is a RC beam 300 mm wide, so the width is already given to us. And it is simply supported for 8 meters, carrying a working load okay, of 18 kilonewton per meter UDL over entire span. Use M25 and mild steel to design a safe section. So grade of concrete is given, and grade of steel is what? Mild steel. So it is Fe250. So first is limit state of collapse, which is flexure. We'll be satisfying the design according to this criteria. Width is 300. Determine ultimate moment and equate to moment of resistance. So ultimate moment, what does this statement mean? We are talking about two types of moments: ultimate moment and moment of resistance, and both should be equal. Okay, so from where do we get this ultimate moment? We get this ultimate moment from the loading which is put on the beam, and we get this from C into lever arm or T into lever arm. Okay, this is the resistive moment which is generated, and this is the moment which is coming due to loading. So ultimate moment, they have said, ultimate moment means it will be given by ultimate load. Ultimate load means we have to multiply our working load by some factor. So working load is given as 18 kilonewton meter. Ultimate load will be this into 1.5, which is 27 kilonewton per meter. And since it's a UDL over entire span, you know that the maximum moment for UDL is WL square by 8. So ultimate moment will be 27 into 8 square by 8, which is 216 kilonewton meter. So this is the ultimate moment. And moment of resistance, remember what I told, that we design for a balanced section. So for mild steel, you should know what is the moment of resistance for a balanced section, that is mu max. We have studied mu max for different types of steels, right? 0.133 FCK BD square, 0.138 and so on. So for mild steel, you can also find that using this formula 0.36 FCK B XU max into D minus 0.42 XU max. Here XU max will be 0.53 D, I guess, for Fe250. So you have to equate your ultimate moment to your moment of resistance. This is your moment of resistance, this is your ultimate moment, correct? And you will find D. The only unknown here is D, and D will come out to be 441.13 mm, which you can round it up to the nearest value of 450 mm. Just like you round it up to the nearest value which is divisible by 10. Not always required, but it is good, you know, if you round it up to such values. I mean, I could have rounded up to 445 also, but that doesn't sound that good, right? And never round it up downwards, okay? Like this 441 is coming, so never take 450. You will always have to go higher. So this D, for balanced section, this was the D which was required, but we took it as 450 mm. So when we exceed the requirement of D, which was required for a balanced section, we are essentially making it as an under reinforced section. Just understand this very carefully, that this is the effective depth D, right? 441 point something 13. This is required for a balanced section. When you make it as 450 mm, what you are doing is that you are increasing your compression area here. 450 mm, you are increasing your compression area more. That means that you are making your concrete strong, steel weak. What does this criteria mean? Concrete strong and steel weak means it is becoming a under reinforced section. So under reinforced section is permitted, not a problem. So that is what I was saying previously, that we will design it always as a balanced section, and further we can make it as an under reinforced section, not a problem. So I will erase everything. Capital D, that is total depth, is 450 plus effective cover. Effective cover is it given? If it's not given, you can use as okay. If it's not given, so how to take effective cover? In table 16 of IS 456, we are given this nominal cover to meet durability requirements. First of all, understand why a cover is required. A cover is basically the protection that you are giving to the steel. The protection of steel means you are making your concrete durable, because what happens is if the steel gets corroded, then the entire beam becomes weak. So it is not at all durable at that point of time. If the steel gets corroded or whatever happens to that steel because of ingress of water. Ingress means water going towards the steel. So we have to make that path as long as possible. This path of steel to the bottom of concrete. That has to be made as difficult as possible for the water to reach to the steels. So that is what we are saying when we understand about durability requirements. And here they have given exposures. So mild exposure, moderate, severe, very severe, extreme. So what is these exposures? These exposures are again given in IS 456 table 3. What is a mild exposure? What is a moderate, severe, very severe, extreme? So I would like you to read these exposures. and if you have some doubt, then you can always ask to me. We will be considering moderate exposure, right? Let us consider a moderate exposure, and it depends on what environment you are building your beam. If you are building near a seashore, then there will be a lot of salt which will be coming in the breeze that is there near the beaches. So for that you cannot take a moderate, you will have to go for some severe, or depending on that, those conditions which are given here in that table 3. So I am taking my cover to be 30 mm, nominal cover. Okay, this is nominal cover, what is given here. Along with that, let us say that I am taking a stirrup of 8 mm and I am assuming that my steel is of 20 mm. This diameter I am assuming it to be 20 dia, and the stirrup I am assuming it to be of 8 dia. So nominal cover plus your stirrup 8 plus half of your steel dia will give you your effective cover, isn't it? So 30 plus 8 plus 10 is your effective cover, and that makes your total depth to 498, which you can again round it up to 500 mm. So this is how you find the total depth using your IS 456 all clause, and you should always go according to the IS 456, whatever is mentioned in that. You should not take any value randomly. You should always have that habit of explaining from where you have taken what value. Step 3 is equate compression to tension to find actual neutral axis. So now once we know our effective depth and we know everything, we can find our actual neutral axis, which is 0.36 FCK BXU is equal to 0.87 FI AST. But what we don't know here is AST, right? So XU can be found in terms of AST, which is 0.87 FY 250 into AST upon 0.36 FCK into B. So XU comes out to be 29 by 360 AST. Fine. We don't know the actual neutral axis value, but we have found it in terms of AST. Now what next? What we will do is, we will find area of steel. So 0.87 Fy into AST into D minus 0.42 XU. What is this? T into lever arm, right? And I am equating my ultimate moment to that. So 216 into 10 raised to 6 is equal to 0.87 Fy AST D minus 0.42 XU. Now you see in this equation everything is in the form of AST. Means the only unknown in this is AST, your area of steel. So area of steel comes out to be 2793.698 mm square. Okay. Minimum steel requirement. Now we found area of steel here. IS 456 has given us minimum steel requirement which is required, and it has also given us maximum steel requirement. So minimum steel requirement is from clause 26.5.1.1.a, which says that AST minimum should be 0.85 BD upon Fy. So 0.85 into B 300 into 450 upon 250 B into D upon Fy, which comes out to be 459 mm square. Obviously our area of steel is greater than this, so our area of steel is what we have found is greater than this. And maximum steel which we can provide in our beam is 4% of B into capital D, which is your total depth. So 4% of 300 into 500 will give you 6000 mm square, and obviously our AST is less than this value. So your AST should lie between AST minimum and AST maximum. This is generally what we should aim for. Okay. Yeah. Now This AST what we have found, there is a shortcut to find this AST. That is this formula, this big formula that you are seeing. AST is 0.5 FCK BD upon F5 into 1 minus root of 1 minus 4.6 mu upon FCK BD square. I know when students see this formula for the first time, they are like, how big formula is this and how do we remember it? But trust me that as in how we use this formula again and again, this formula you will remember forever. And it is not that difficult formula. You just have to understand it, and once you get the hold of this, you will not forget this formula forever, unless you are unless you are going into some other field. Yeah, so what this formula does for you is that it completely eliminates this step, that is finding XU in terms of AST and all. It also eliminates this step. So 2 steps it directly eliminates for you, and you can directly put the values here, which is 0.5 into 25 into 300 into 450 upon 250, 1 minus root of 1 minus 4.6 mu upon FCK BD square. And AST will come out near to this value. Okay, it should actually come out equal, but because of some approximations that we do, see, this will not give you a value which is very much different from this value. It will always give you a value equal to this. And actually this formula has come out from this only. From this equation only, this formula has come out. It has been simplified. So it is not some different formula that we are using. We are using the same concept that we have used here. Just in different steps we did it. Here in one formula itself we are doing it. Fine. Yeah, so you can use this formula also. Now what to do with this AST? We have found the area of steel. So what I have done here in this table is that there are different diameters of bars that you can choose from. We have found the area of steel. Now we want to find that how many which bar dia should be used for our beam, and how many number of that bar dia should be used, right? So the different bar dias that are available is 6 mm, 8 mm, whatever basically is given here. 6 mm, 8 mm, 10 mm, 12 mm, 16, 20, 25 and 32. So all these are different diameters of bar that are available in the Indian market, and you can use any of these diameters bars for your beam. And the numbers that you are seeing below are how many number of that dia bar is required to suffice this AST. And how to find that number of bars? It is given as AST upon pi by 4 into dia square. So whatever AST is coming, 2793.698, that divided by pi by 4 into 6 square or 8 square, 10 square. So there is a shortcut that we can use in our calculators. I will just show it to you right now. So we'll check how to find that area of steel and the number of dia is required for that area of steel. So what you have to do is that you have to go in the mode, you have to go into table 7, then the area of steel is 2793.698 divided by, what you have to do is here you have to put pi by 4 into x square, and x will be your diameter that you will be putting. So x, you should start your diameter from 6 and it should go till 32, and the step will be 2. So what it will give you is the number of bars for that particular diameter. So for 6 it is 98, for 8 it is 56, you have to round it up. 10, 12, 14 we don't require, 16, then 18 again we don't require, 20 we need, 22 is not required, 24 is not required, 25 value it won't give you, but you can just understand what that value should be. If it is 5.26 for 26, for 25 it should be at least 6, and 32 it will give you 3.47, which is 4. Okay, So this is how we can find the number of dias in a shortcut way. You can take a general thumb rule that if your AST is less than 500 mm square, you can use these dia bars 6, 8, 10, 12. If your AST is between 500 to 1300 mm square, you can use 16 and 20 mm dia. And if it is greater than 1300 mm square, like for us in this case, you can use 25 and 32. So this thumb rule, if you remember, you don't have to calculate for them all. Now we have our beam here. Let us say that the spacing between two bars is called as SB, and IS 456 has also given us clause to limit this spacing, and that clause is 26.3.2. It is equal to diameter of largest bar. The spacing between two it should be equal to diameter of largest bar that we are using. Second, it should be equal to size of aggregate plus 5 mm. So whichever is greater of 2, we have to use that. And generally the aggregate size that we use in India is 20 mm. So 20 plus 5, this will give us 25 mm. And the first clause, whichever bar dia you are using, either it is 32 or 25, whatever in this case, that is there. So the distance in between is dependent on these two criterias. Let us say that this is the side cover, as how the cover is here, down and up. Same way we have side covers also, and side covers will keep as 30 mm, what we had used previously, the nominal cover 30 mm. So there is a formula that we can say 2 into side cover, that is 2 into this and this, plus 2 into dia of stirrup, one time and two times, 2 into dia of stirrup, plus n into number of n into dia of bar that we are using. N is what? N is nothing but number of bars that we are providing. So n is number of bars that we are providing into dia of bar. So this distance, dia of bar, plus n minus 1. You see that here for 4 bars, how many space we are having in between? 3. 1, 2, 3. So the space will always be equal to n minus 1. Correct? So this space in between into n minus 1, that should be equal to the width of your beam. You just check this formula again and you will understand it is equal to the width of the beam. Right? And from this we can calculate how much spacing is being left. Let us say, for example, I am taking 32 dia bar for my beam and it gives me 4 numbers. So 2 into 30, which is side cover, plus 2 into 8, which is stirrup, plus 4, which is number of 32 dia bar, into 32, plus 4 minus 1, which is 3 into spacing, it should be equal to 300. From this I can find my SB. SB comes out to be 32 mm exactly. So it is sufficing my this criteria and this criteria both. Correct? It is equal to the diameter of largest bar, which is 32 itself, and it is it is greater than 20 plus 5, which is 25 mm. So we can provide 4 32 mm dia bars on tension side. Okay, so this you can try out with 25 mm also. You check whether 6 bars are fitting in one layer or not. And we will also study what happens if 6 bars do not fit. Like if we are providing 25 mm dia bars, so how many bars are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let us check what this SB comes out to be. So 2 into SC, this formula, 2 into 30 plus 2 into 8 plus 6 into 25 plus 6 minus 1 into SB, that is equal to the width. SB comes out to be 14.8 mm. So it is clearly evident from this that we cannot provide 25 mm dia bars in one layer. Okay, these 6 numbers cannot be provided in one layer. So what to do in that case? In that case, We provide them in 2 layers. Simple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the SB has increased. Correct? So this is what you do. If you cannot provide them in 1 layer, you provide them in 2 layers. So provide 2 layers of 325 mm dia bars on tension side. This is one. Or you can provide 4 32 mm dia in 1 layer. So either of both you can do. Now limit state of serviceability deflection. We are done with the limit state of collapse flexure. Now we have to satisfy this limit state of serviceability deflection. It is given in clause 23.2.1 of IS 456, and what it says is the vertical deflection limits may generally be assumed to be satisfied provided that the span to depth ratio are not greater than the values obtained as below. Span to depth ratio. The basic value of span to effective depth ratio for spans up to 10 meters is, for if it is a cantilever it's 7, if it's a simply supported it's 20, if it's continuous it's 26. So span to effective depth. Ours is a simply supported case. It's a simply supported beam, right, of 8 meter. Now what it says further is, for spans above 10 meters, the values in A, that is these values, may be multiplied by 10 divided by span in meter. So if my span was more than 10 meters, I will have to multiply this by 10 divided by whatever my span is. If let's say my span was 15 meters, I will have to multiply this value by 10 divided by 15, like this. Okay. C, depending on the area and the stress of steel for tension reinforcement, the values in A or B, whatever you are getting, shall be modified by multiplying with modification factor obtained as per figure 4. So you will have to multiply this by a modification factor. This. And on what it is depending? It is depending on area of steel for tension reinforcement. Okay. So this is that the figure that they were talking about, modification factor for tension reinforcement. So it is based on two values. First is percentage tension reinforcement, and it has these curves of Fs, and Fs is what? 0.58 into Fy into area of cross section of steel required. So it is required divided by area of cross section of steel provided. Okay, so let us find this. AST required that we found in previous steps was 2793.698 mm square. AST provided, we provided 4 32 dia bars on tension side, or if you had taken 2 layers of those 325 bars, you can do the calculations according to that, but I am using 4 32 dia bars on tension side. So what is AST provided? It is 4 into pi by 4 into 32 square, which is 3216.9909 mm square. So this is your AST provided, this is your AST required, correct? So what is given here is Fs is 0.58 Fy, so 0.58 into Fy is what? Mild steel, it is 250, into AST required is 2793.698 upon provided, that gives you 125.9208. This is your Fs, you found Fs. So which curve you have to choose, that you can select from this. Second is percentage of tension reinforcement. Percentage means that in your beam, if these are those 4 bars of 32, and this is your width and this is your total depth D. I'm sorry, not the total depth, we have to use the effective depth D. Then what is the percentage of this area of steel as compared to the area of concrete? That is what simply it means. Percentage of tension reinforcement means how much percentage of area of this B into D is this area of steel provided. So you can either understand it that way conceptually, or you can either go for this formula, which is AST provided divided by BD into 100. So 100 AST provided divided by BD, which is 3216.9909 divided by 300 into 450 into 100, which gives you 2.3829. Okay. Now we have Fs as 125, so there is no curve of 125 here, so it will lie in between 120 and 145, and here we are getting Pt as 2.38, so it means it will be somewhere here 2.38, and in between 120 and 125 we get this modification factor. So that modification factor is around 1.15. okay, so this modification factor now we'll be using here. Span is how much? 8 meters. We'll have to convert it into mm. 8000 divided by 450 is equal to 20 into 1.15, which gives us 17.777, and I'm sorry, 8000 by 450, this gives us 17.777. This is less than 20 into 1.15, which is 23. So obviously 17.77 is less than 23, hence our design is safe, hence it is safe in deflection. So this was on that thing what you had to check for limit state of serviceability. So that's it for today's lecture. In the next lecture we'll be solving one more design numerical. Till then, take care. Thank you.